It's Gremlin here, once again with the Gremlin Gamer. So we're jumping back into Skyrim with our boy Henslow, the new Argonian character we just created. So this is going to try and keep this video a little bit short because I don't have as much time to do today, but also there was just a few things I wanted to cover here. When we left, we were kind of going over equipment and how to improve your equipment, and so next we're going to be heading up to speak to the Jarl and also his court wizard. So there's two reasons for this. For one, this will kind of spark the next set of missions that we're looking to acquire, because basically we want to get on the good side of the Jarl. So as I mentioned before, the house right here next door to the blacksmith, once we get the right, basically we've earned some reputation with him and have enough money, we actually can buy this house. And this ends up being, even after I get some of my other bigger, nicer houses, this still ends up being kind of one of my primary headquarter locations because of just the convenience of being right next door to the blacksmith. That said, there are limitations on this house. You can only basically have a little side room here that you can either convert into an alchemy laboratory, or you can make it a bedroom for a child that you can adopt. So we'll get into the child adoption thing later. That kind of gets tied into the well-rested bonus. You can increase that even more by adopting a child.
They say Helgen got hit by a dragon.
And your well-rested bonus will be added. It'll usually show when you wake up. It's like you wake up feeling the love of a father or mother, whichever character you chose. And so those well-rested bonuses are really, really good because the simple fact it just increases the amount of experience.
Ulfred,
get for everything
patron of the great clan Battleborn.
So even though you don't have to sleep,
sure you know well.
It's to your benefit to allow your character to sleep. So we're gonna head on up here to the Jarl, and that way we can start explaining a little bit about how enchanting works, because enchanting is probably just as important to your character's development as smithing. Main reason being is because you can apply all kinds of different enchantments to your weapons,
I spend a lot of time
armor.
at the market stall so I can
This can drastically affect your character's performance. So everything from making you resistant to certain types of elemental magic, increasing your ability with certain types of weapons or spells, giving you immunity, letting you breathe underwater.
Damn those
letting you carry extra weight.
They want to back the Stormcloaks.
Enchanting is really, really the backbone of this, and it's also useful too for making money, because you can take anything that you've made or found and add an enchantment to it, and its value increases dramatically. So let's go and talk to our Jarl here.
My lord, please. This is no time for rash action.
What's the meaning of this interruption? Jarl Balgruuf is not receiving visitors.
Who's this then?
Well, that explains why the guards let you in. Come on then. The Jarl will want to speak to you personally.
Alright, Irileth, calm down. Nobody's gonna do you nothing. Alright,
so, you were at Helgen. You saw this dragon with your own eyes? By Ysmir, Irileth was right. What do you say now, Proventus? Shall we continue to trust in the strength of our walls against the dragon?
My lord, we should send troops to Riverwood at once. It's in the most immediate danger. If that dragon is lurking in the mountains...
That is a provocation. He'll assume we're preparing to join Ulfric's side and attack him. We should not...
Enough! I'll not stand idly by while the dragon burns my hold and slaughters my people. Irileth, send a detachment to Riverwood at once.
Yes, my Jarl.
If you'll excuse me, I'll return to my duties.
That would be best. Well done. You sought me out on your own initiative. You've done Whiterun a service, and I won't forget it. Here. Take this as a small token of my esteem. There is another thing you could do for me. Suitable for someone of your particular talents, perhaps? Come, let's go find Farengar, my court wizard. He's been looking into a matter related to these dragons and rumors of dragons.
Father promised me a new dress days ago. Now where is it?
It takes a while to make a dress, Dagny. You have to be patient.
But I don't want to be patient. I want a dress right now. Father promised.
All you ever do is complain about what you want. You're a spoiled baby.
I'm going to tell Father you said that. And Tammy, you're hiding here.
Farengar, I think I've found someone who can help you with your dragon project. Go ahead and fill him in with all the details.
So the Jarl thinks you can be of use to me. Oh yes, he must be referring to my research into the dragons. Yes, I could use someone to fetch something for me. Well, when I say fetch, I really mean delve into a dangerous ruin in search of an ancient stone tablet that may or may not actually be there. Ah, no mere brute mercenary, but a thinker. Perhaps even a scholar? You see, when the stories of dragons began to circulate, many dismissed them as mere fantasies, rumors, impossibilities. One sure mark of a fool is to dismiss anything that falls outside his experience as being impossible. But I began to search for information about dragons. Where had they gone all those years ago? And where were they coming from? I learned of a certain stone tablet said to be housed in Bleak Falls Barrow. A dragon stone, said to contain a map of dragon burial sites. Go to Bleak Falls Barrow, find this tablet, no doubt interred in the main chamber, and bring it to me. Simplicity itself. Ah, the dragon stone of Bleak Falls Barrow. You already found it. You are cut from a different cloth than the usual brutes the Jarl foists on me. That is where your job ends and mine begins. The work of the mind, sadly undervalued in Skyrim. Come to Dragon's Reach to discuss the ongoing hostilities, like the rest of the great warriors?
Okay, so...
Ah, student of the craft. You'll need to start by learning an enchantment. Take an enchanted weapon or piece of armor, then use the arcane enchanter to learn its secrets. The item is destroyed in the process, so be wary. Once you know an enchantment, you'll need a filled soul gem and something to enchant. You'll use the arcane enchanter for that too. Of course, I have everything you need for sale if you have the coin. I had you figured for a mage. I think you'll appreciate this.
Okay, so don't really need any of his armor. Let's see, we got the spells, so calm, yeah, let's see how much it's 280. So this can be a good one. This is one I was explaining before that you can basically stop an enemy in their tracks trying to attack. Candlelight. Basically, this is a way to provide light, but of course, if you're playing a stealth character, this will give you away just as well as a torch. This one really doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because the game, as long as you're set on the quest you're on, it's going to basically tell you where you need to go. This one is if you're a summoner. I haven't fooled around summoning spells too much, but if you just want to have something to draw attention from you, you can definitely use that. Conjure Flame Atronach, once again another summoning spell. Courage. This is useful for allies if you're using them. Now this is one that we definitely want to, well, actually since my character has the Hiskin ability, we'll look, because I may actually have a healing spell, but let's see. Fear, there's a good one too. Sends enemies running from you. Now these are actually booby traps. I almost forgot about these. You place a ruin on the ground, the enemy walks across it, it explodes in whatever element you have it on. So as you can see, he has a lot of different basic spells to learn. Unfortunately, they're not cheap. This is a good one too, especially until we get our stealth skills higher. Or if you were determined to wear heavy armor, this can help with that as well. So here's a magic spell that allows a mage user to increase their armor rating since they can't wear heavy armor. Soul Trap. Now this is a good one. This is important for enchanting. You'll want at least one weapon with this on it. Or actually, this is the spell itself. It's not the enchantment. But same effect. It traps an enemy's soul in a gem so that you can use that to enchant or recharge enchantments. This is basically the equivalent of a magic shield. And I don't think we're going to buy any spells just yet because I don't really see anything I absolutely got to have for the most part. And I see miscellaneous. He does have some common soul gems. We'll take this one just because I don't think I have a soul gem with him. Well, you know what? Let's make sure. No. Yeah. We're going to buy one from him just so I can demonstrate an enchantment real quick. I hate spending that much on that. And so, as you'll notice, there are different sized soul gems that can contain different sized souls. The bigger the soul, the more power you're going to get from it when creating an enchantment. And as we get into enchantments, I'll show that there's different types of enchantments.
Remember, your mind is the best weapon.
When you're
you
enchanting
have.
weapons,
You need to
typically
come at once. A dragon's been sighted nearby.
these things can
You should come too.
basically be designed in a way
dragon.
that where
How exciting. Where was it seen?
you
What was it doing?
can.
I
Okay,
take
for
this a bit
example,
more
with like say
seriously
a
than
fire
you.
enchantment on your sword
If
that
a
does
dragon
fire
decides
damage.
to attack
The
Whiterun,
enchantment can be set up
we
so
don't
where
know if we
it
can
will
stop
have
it.
maybe 200 times you can actually use that and before your weapon is runs out of mana, but it'll only do like maybe 3 points of fire damage, whereas you can also make it so that you might only get 25 attacks where it's doing fire damage, but it's going to do say 25 points of damage. So it's about finding the balance so that you're not constantly having to recharge the weapon, but you're actually still getting a decent amount of actual, you know, whatever effect you're looking for. Typically with enchantments on armor, they're a one-time thing. It's usually something like a resistance or gives you some other unique ability or improvement, but it's not going to deplete over time like a enchantment on a weapon or a stave would. So, as we mentioned, when you go into the enchanting, you have to disenchant an item first to learn an enchantment. Okay, we got it. So, we have this here, this Ancient Nord War Axe of Cold. The target takes 5 points of frost damage to health and stamina. So as I mentioned, this only works so many times. So each time you attack, they're going to do 5 points of damage. You might get maybe 20 attacks before this has to be recharged. Same thing with this one. Now this is a little bit different. So this as you can see on the armor enchantment, it just gives you a base increase in frost resistance of 30%. Now, that said, since my enchanting abilities are nothing at this point, if I was to learn this enchantment and try and enchant one of my pieces, I'm probably going to get maybe a resistance of like 10 or 15%. So in a situation like this, especially if it's something you can make use of, it's probably not a good idea to destroy it just yet until your enchanting skills get better, because otherwise you're just, you know, you're not going to get the same effect. So same thing with these, magic regeneration 50% faster, and some of these enchantments are also specific to that piece of equipment. So there's certain enchantments that can only be put on headgear, necklaces, certain enchantments that can only put on gauntlets and gloves, certain enchantments that can only be put on armor, certain enchantments that can only be put on boots. Some of these are kind of logical, like say the water breathing enchantment can only be put on necklaces and headgear. Enchantments that improve your ability with weapons or bows, and bows is usually on your gauntlets and armor. Enchantments that usually improve your ability for carrying weight or muffling your sound, making you better at stealth, are usually enchantments that go on your boots and shoes. Whereas a lot of your other things like resistance and such are usually going to be on the armor. So, just for the sake of doing an enchantment, the one that I'm really probably the least useful at this point would be this one. So we're going to disenchant so that we can learn this enchantment. So then we want to say we got this hunting bow, longbow, which is better than 2. We'll do the longbow, and then we'll choose the enchantment we want. So the target takes 10 points of frost damage to health and stamina. That's by default. Alright, so now as you can see, this is what I was talking about. We can increase the amount of attacks before this thing is depleted. We can get 320 attacks, but the targets are only going to take 1 point of frost damage and health. Whereas if we max this out to the full 10 points, we get 25 shots with this bow, and then we're going to have to recharge it. We can meet in the middle and do 5 points of damage, and we get 50 shots. So that's probably as good as we're going to get at this point. Once again, these ratios will become a lot better once you get better at enchanting, and there's other ways to improve your enchanting as well through enchanting. There's actually enchantments you'll be able to find on equipment that basically improve your smithing, improve your enchantments. Potions that can improve your smithing and enchantments. So it's usually one of these things where you want to get those things, make that equipment, make those and find those potions, and then when you're actually going to make something, or I should say if you're smithing, it'd be more along the lines of improving armor weapons, that you put on that gear, take those potions, and you're going to get the maximum effect. And it's the same thing with enchanting. Put on any gear that improves your enchanting, take any potions that improve your enchanting, and for a short period of time, you can get the maximum effect. Alright, so we have our enchantment set, and then we have to have a soul gem with a soul in it, which we have. Alright, so it's going to work. And here's the other interesting thing too. You'll see where it says rename item. Now this is kind of fun, and it also makes it easier for you to keep track of what's what. Especially if it's a weapon you really, really, really like. So in this case, we're going to rename it. We'll say Frosty Bow. More than anything, just so I'll know what it is. Because I'm probably going to sell it. Because I don't... Well, I mean, it's not a bad enchantment, but it's not really anything I want. Alright, so we've got it. We can craft it. And right out the gate, we increased our enchanting and leveled up. Win-win. So once again, you can only do this at an enchanting altar. And this over here would be your alchemy lab. So just to go through this, we'll show you how alchemy works. So we have our ingredients. And as I demonstrated before, in order to find the traits for a particular ingredient so that you have a better idea of what you're making, you usually have to eat the ingredients. And this is kind of the shortcut. So we know that wobbler eggs restore health. We don't really know what these other things do. So for the heck of it, what we're going to do is just kind of experiment and see what we get. So we'll do a wobbler egg. And we'll cross it with a spider egg. Unknown effect. Craft it. And now we know that spider eggs do stamina damage. And so this said, this is where alchemy can get really weird and fickle, because you can actually create potions that may have positive and negative effects. And that's where it really comes down to a lot of experimentation and basically sampling everything that you can find and literally just leveling up your abilities in alchemy. So this can be probably one of the trickier skills to really master, and most people who are fans of Skyrim have mixed attitudes towards alchemy. Some people don't like it at all, other people think it's amazing. It just kind of depends on whether you're interested in pursuing it or not. But there's definitely some advantages to learning it, but that's the basics behind it. And of course, once you know certain traits on certain ingredients, it's easier to create a potion that's giving you the effects you want. That said, especially at lower levels, you'll still get some results that you don't necessarily want. Alright. Now, another thing I wanted to mention too is in this game, you can steal shit. you don't want to steal stuff, you can, but for one thing, a lot of vendors will not buy stuff that's stolen. And although you can steal things, it's not always difficult. In fact, you can steal things so long as nobody actually sees you do it, you'll get away with it. And that's what's ironic. See, it doesn't look like it's saying I'm stealing the purse, it's just simply, you can take it. But if I try to take this gem, oh, you're stealing. Anyways, so typically you want to go into stealth mode. Oops. Just to be on the safe side. Now, I got sticky fingers, I won't lie. Even when I'm playing the most upright, upstanding citizen of Skyrim, I'm pretty bad about looting the hell out of places that I can, especially when coins involved. So since Homeboy did not reward me for getting him his slab of stone, I'm taking his coin purse. Yeah, shame on me, but no one works for free. Alright, so some other things I did want to mention too is because a lot of, I guess this is just kind of getting in more of the meat and bones of Skyrim, some mechanics in regards to NPCs and things like that. So, for the most part, most named characters in this game, pretty much any NPC in this game, if they die, they are dead forever. It's not like most other games where you come back in or even restart the game and they are there again. It's like, no, if they die, they're done. Now there are some NPCs that simply cannot die, like the Jarl and his children simply cannot die. That said, if you attack them, you will have the guards on you in a heartbeat. But it is kind of amusing to get the reaction. So what you want to do if you're wanting to, say, go a little Grand Theft Auto and just go on a splurge of violence for the heck of it, I highly recommend just saving your game first. That way, after you get through committing all your acts of chaos and craziness, you can simply reload at that last save. So anyways, that is all I want to do on this video for today. We will pick back up on this character here when I get a chance again. So in the meantime, y'all have a good time and enjoy Skyrim.